Beautiful. All right. So I think I imagine we're recording now.
Yes.
Now I'll just do my little fiddly things because being an editor, I know I can cut all this stuff out. Okay. So today, hi and welcome to the show. So we are living in a literary renaissance driven by independent publishing, a thirst for novel stories and digital democratisation. The last decade has seen phenomenal growth in audiobooks and podcasts, especially during the pandemic. But there has also been a big surprise for sales growth for print books in the last 3 years, having grown almost 12% in that period. So we are buying and consuming more literature over time, but how are we finding it? So today I'm joined by writers Dr. Jo Lukens, performance psychologist, Jules Brooke, media and publicity coach, and Stephanie Thompson, women's health advocate. Jo, can we perhaps start with asking you, how do people find out about you and your mission?
In various ways, and thank you, Dave, for including me in the discussion today. So I am in the region that I live in, which is North Queensland. I am a speaker and I work with various elite sporting teams. So I also have quite a strong media profile here in the region and across the country. So there's lots of different ways that people find me, but also because I have taken to writing in the last 4 to 5 years as an independent writer. That's another way for me to share the messages and the information that I have for clients to get my message out there further. So I guess there's lots of different ways, and obviously getting on board with the audiobook has been a really good tool for me in furthering that message, obviously, to the audience that really appreciate and enjoy audiobooks.
Oh, fabulous. Thanks, Jo. Jules, can I put the same question to you, but perhaps in addition, how useful can the media be in all its forms?
The media can be incredibly useful in all its forms because PR does a whole lot of really good things for people, but one of them is that it's like a trusted friend telling you that somebody is really good. So it's not yourself that you're going out and talking about. It's that somebody else is talking about you and saying that you're great. And I think most of us will have had something happen where we've read a newspaper and it's recommended a business or it's talked about some business and we've gone and Googled them. People will search you out if you are in the media. And in terms of people finding me, it's audio based as well. A lot of it is through my podcast. So, but it is also publicity that I've got, and that is magazines, newspaper, radio, TV, being a podcast guest, and then speaking.
Really interesting, Jules. Thank you. And finally, Steph, what have your experiences been when reaching out to people through your writing, your book and your podcast?
Thanks, Dave. It's really nice to be here. I think, so I'm not repeating what Dr. Jo and Jules has already said. I think my audience seek me out. And by me, I'm talking about the Brave Mama community, because we are working with a very marginalised section of our community, even though there's 50% of women will experience their pelvic health at some point in their life. But at some point they feel really lost and they're unseen and unheard and underserved in the community. So I would probably suggest people find us through Google, and they usually start with a question. What the heck is pelvic organ prolapse? My doctor just diagnosed me. Where do I go? And so I think that's how essentially people find what we do in this space.
Really interesting. Okay. So all... Oh, sorry, did you want to make a comment?
I was just going, yes, I think that Google is really the source of everything. And so the more you can have a presence on Google, the more likely you are to be able to be found.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we're probably all unanimous on that one. I think that's a really good point. Now, I guess all three of you have either well-established podcast or audio books or both. What role do you think these things play in things like your credibility, your advocacy for what it is that you believe in, your profile? Like, Jules, would you like to have a crack at this one?
So, my mission when I'm not talking about PR is to make women in business more visible. I believe pretty much the same as Stephanie, that we are invisible, that people are going, where can I find other women to talk to who are like me? And that I think that there's a lot of media and a lot of chatter online around startups, and around young women in the startup space and around mums, but there's not a lot around people who have established businesses that maybe are over 40. So that's kind of my target market. My podcast, She's the Boss Chats, focuses on that. And in terms of building my profile, it has been heavily instrumental. And I think the reason for it is that it gives me an opportunity once or twice a week to go out and talk about somebody else that I've interviewed. So straight away, people start to cop on to the fact that this is what I'm talking about, but I don't have to talk about myself. I get an opportunity to go, this person is amazing, or that person is amazing, or this bit of information is amazing. And it's not, oh, by the way, everyone, look at me, because this is what I really want you to do. So I think that the podcast has been huge. It allows you to position yourself so you can explain why you're promoting both your own podcast and the people that you're interviewing. It gives you enormous credibility. It gives people the opportunity to hear your voice. And I know we're talking about audiobooks, but I think that is something that is very important to a lot of people, to hear your voice and see whether you're are you their kind of person? And to hear, straight from the horse's mouth what it is that you're talking about and why. So it's been huge. I really think, and I also feel that audio is just growing and growing, and so it's really important to get your voice out there.
Okay,
Dave, can I jump in there as well?
Please, Steph. I was just about to ask you to.
Be too excited. And I think too, because when you have the modality of visual text, there is so much different interpretation, there's different tone, there's a whole lot of things that a reader can really kind of put their own slant on it. But when you are literally listening to the voice of the author, it creates, I think, a much stronger connection. Especially in an audio book, if I'm reading the words that I have written, there's an extra layer of, I get that. I understand what she means by that. And because you have the emotion, you have that greater connection. So that's why I think a lot of people in our audience choose to listen over reading. Of course, there's lots of variables with age demographics and all of those things. But overall, listening is also, we can more multitask. Yeah. So you can listen to something, you can listen to an audiobook, you can listen to a podcast whilst you're driving, whilst you're doing things with the children, but you can't literally walk around with a book while you're driving. Well, you shouldn't be.
So it's something you might be able to do that you otherwise couldn't in a different medium. It opens an opportunity that you wouldn't perhaps otherwise have. Right. Is that sort of the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Joe, how do you feel about this as well? Because in many ways, Joe is kind of Joe's a lovely hybrid, because Joe has the audio book, plus she's been successful in podcasting, and also has lots of regular radio through media as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on how all your audio assets and book assets have contributed towards getting your message across, Joe.
Thank you, Dave. I don't know that I've been referred to as a lovely hybrid before, so I'll take that. That's awesome. And you're right, I do. I find value, and I mean, I guess that's what we're trying to do as business owners too, is to work out where do we invest our time and our energy and resources in trying to share our messages. And so I find that being a podcast guest really valuable because, of course, you're across a broad range of audiences then when you do that. And I kind of almost apologetically say I sort of have a podcast because what I do is I have a regular weekly radio interview that I do, but any radio interviews that I do, we have those all sitting in the one location. So let's call it a podcast, but it's, there's 110 episodes. So I'm sure it's a podcast in some way, shape or form. So, but again, it's what I find with the auditory is that it enables people to, as Stephanie was saying, to get to know me better, that your voice, your style all comes across in a way when you are speaking to it, the things that you're passionate come across, where your expertise sits is evident. So I think there's a lot of value in that. And of course, with me looking at it through the psychological lens, we know that people have different preferred learning styles. So, for someone who is a reader and needs to have the book in front of them, it's a very different experience to having the audio book. So I think what it does, and I work in an audience, a lot of my demographic is quite different to who Stephanie and Jules are speaking to, in that it varies, but I do have a lot of my demographic that are male, and I work with elite athletes, and I have female athletic teams as well. So I want to recognise that I have both of those, but I have, particularly also in the work that I do in defence, I have a lot of my audience that are not natural readers, if I can put it that way, or they're not comfortable readers, or it's been 5 years since I've read a book, that sort of thing. But they'll listen to podcasts, they'll listen to the information. And the other place where I've found it is that I use it as an opportunity. It's the most wonderful business card that I could have, because if I'm meeting a new coach or a new CEO of an organisation who might want me to translate elite performance for them for their organisation, the number of times I've had someone who's rung me that they're at an airport and they've said, I'd love to talk to you about this when I get back from wherever I am. And I say, have you got capacity to download a file? Can I send you a copy of my audiobook? And the number of times I've done it when they've literally been standing in the queue to get on the plane, and then they've stepped off the plane from wherever they are and they've gone, I've just listened to your book. Let's. So for me, it's a business card on steroids.
That's such a fantastic story, and that's just got instant gratification kind of written all over it, Jo, hasn't it? And so transportable, and that's a really marvelous story. I love that. I really love that one. I think that's fabulous. I guess many of, and if I can include myself in the group, many of us solopreneurs, independently published authors, small businesses, like we're all self-funded. So what have been the major obstacles you've overcome, and how have you done it? So Steph, I know sponsorship has been one of your strategies. What has that looked like for you?
So we call it partnerships, Dave, just to be really clear. Sponsorships to me is very much a transactional thing where it's a money exchange for one thing. I work in partnerships with brands and invite them into our community if I already know. It's usually I have purchased their product, I've personally used it, and would recommend it because I still use it. So the people who we select to work with us, I know will bring value to the women in our space. That's why I choose to work with them. In terms of what partnerships look like, that's a good question, because it really depends on what our need is in our community at that point in time. So should it be paying for a producer for a podcast, say, or say it's publishing the next round of print in books? It will depend. So, for example, one of our partnerships was with Modibody, which is period underwear. We were able to provide them a one-page letter to our readers in one print run of the book. That helped get the book to print.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a partnership of equal value. We provide something that's going to be of value, and the company supports us in the way that we need at that time. It's been really successful. So successful now that we're actually teaching other brands how to do the same thing.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And that beautiful, I'm hearing a quid pro quo in what you're talking about, Steph. There's got to be mutual.
Correct.
a mutual advantage for both parties for any kind of,
Yeah, and we work
to call it trade,
right, and we work
a
hard.
bit rude, not right. But
We work hard for it. It's not a simple money grab. It's very different. So we make sure that everything that we do to either promote the brand or introduce the brand, it's work. You need to be able to work at this as a long-term friendship. We see it as a long-term partnerships where you can work on different projects at different times throughout the years, and that's been really successful.
Oh, fantastic. That's amazing. And Jules, partnerships, I'm correcting my language now, partnerships for you, have your experiences been similar to
Yes, I have. I probably should call them partnerships. I have been calling them sponsorships. But yes, I'm looking for brands that want to get to the same audience as me, that are a fit with what I am doing, and I need to know that I can do something to help them. It's not just a one-way street. So it's important. So, but I have to say, in terms of getting sponsorship for the podcast, I did it for almost 2 years without any sponsorship. I know, Steph, I think you got it in advance, didn't you, of your podcast, which is super smart. I did 2 years worth where I wasn't getting paid at all for any of it, which is much tougher. But I think because I've been posting about my podcast, particularly on LinkedIn and within the She's the Boss group on Facebook, that the sponsors are now coming out of the woodwork. So I can do a little post, and interestingly, I don't get asked how many downloads I'm getting, which is great because it's not massive, but the uptake on social media in terms of the promotion that I do, it makes a huge difference to the brand. So that's been really, really interesting for me to kind of understand. But you're 100% right, Steph, that it's about what the brands are looking to partner with people who have the same audience as them, and who, where it's an even exchange. As I keep saying to people, if you support me, I'll support you, and we can work out whatever it is that works for you and for me to make that, equitable.
And too, Jules, I must just say, when you produce such a high quality show like yours, there's no wonder brands are reaching out to you now.
Thank you.
Because you're already at that level which they are already looking for. Right?
Thank you.
That's a good remark. And Joe, I'm now reading the question that I'm about to ask you, and think hopefully I haven't diverted away too much from the subject matter that we're discussing. But how is it with your online community, your speaking engagements, or your professional associations? I mean, what keeps your raft afloat for you, Joe?
I think I remind myself daily about why I do what I do, and I know we often talk about the why, and but it really is central for me. So I actually have a little conversation with myself every morning as I step out of my car and walk into whatever my day looks like. And it does vary. So I have contracts with the Army. Yesterday I had 125 16-year-olds at a grade 11 leadership conference.
Like fun.
Wow.
Well, it was fun, and I must say I've done that. I've worked with that school for a number of years, and it's the only time I felt particularly anxious, because sitting in the front row was my 16-year-old son. So I really had to get it right yesterday.
There.
So I was fortunate enough he gave me clearance to come and present. So I guess I remind myself, I feel fortunate with the work that I do. Gratitude is a big, well, as you know, Dave, it's a big part of what I've written about in The Elite. So I know that
Yes.
I'm afforded the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of other people, and that's incredibly rewarding. So I'm very much passionate about the topics that I talk about. I get to work in a space that not everyone gets to go to. I have an ID pass, and I get to drive through the gate at the military barracks, and I get to see that part of the world. I work with a professional football team, and I get to see what happens behind the scenes of the game. I got to go to a world, so I've been very fortunate in the opportunities that I have been offered and I have created for myself. So both of those elements. So, I'm grateful every day for why I get to do what I do. And I was thinking about that question you put to Stephanie and Jules before, and interesting, it's got me thinking about, partnerships and sponsorships and so forth, because that's not something I've even thought about how that might potentially link in with the work that I do, and maybe it does and maybe it doesn't. And so now I'm going to go and have a little think about that. But the thing that occurred to me as you were asking them that question is what's freed me up financially to do some of the things that I have. And I don't know how typical this response would be, but I've learned to say no to stuff. That I, prior to 2019 when I wrote The Elite, that's kind of my year, because I'm 32 years into my profession, so I had spent 27 years or something one-on-one counselling with people, which was incredible work, and it's such a privilege to work with people. And it's fee for service, and if you're not in front of someone, then you're not helping someone and you're not getting paid. So I've stopped doing all of that work, and what that gave me the gift of was a very empty diary. And so then just opportunity after opportunity just kept presenting itself, because I could choose when to say no and choose when to say yes. And I think, it takes a bit of courage to do it. Like I was scared when I did it. I was like, well, let's see how this goes. But I haven't looked back. And it's just caused me to be more creative and to think in different ways, and then to create those opportunities for myself. So it's come as a blessing for me.
Oh, great story, Jo.
I love that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, too.
Yeah, I love that too. And thank you for making that question I didn't ask you sound so fabulous. Thank you, Jo. That was exactly what I was driving at. So thank you so much for that. Now, would you mind could I ask each of you to name perhaps 3 critical things that you do each day, or each week, something to maintain or enhance your marketing and sales efforts. So please feel free to jump in.
I'm very happy to.
Let the professional go
I always
first.
go. I think I'm allergic to silence. Okay, so what do I do? I post on LinkedIn and Facebook every day, multiple times a day. I check it. It's my market. It's where my community is. And I post about the podcasts that are coming up. I post about the work that I'm doing. So they're the 2 most important things. Other than that, I do a tiny bit of PR, so I have never said no to any guest opportunity ever. I believe that every opportunity, I guess I'm not asked by anyone that's terribly irrelevant. So basically, I'm pretty much always up for it. And I do believe that however big or small a media outlet is, or a podcast, that there is always a market for it. And to talk to, I think it was you, Steph, that was saying, or I'm not sure whether it was you or Jo, was saying that the great thing about podcasts is that even if they have a small number of listeners, it doesn't matter because they are so highly targeted. So, I mean, if you want to get to women who have got birthing injuries, then Steph is absolutely, you go to her podcast, whether how big or small that group is, it doesn't matter. It's absolutely on brand for what people want to get to. And, so basically social media is what I do every day. I probably do PR not as often as I should, but maybe once a month. And then the other thing that I do is I host online events quite a lot. So I do an online lunch, which I've done for the last 3 years every Friday, and that's my opportunity for me to talk with people and people to talk with me.
So it's keeping keeping yourself in front of people, but also around them, engaged with them, and conversing. Jules, it's the community is a big part of your strategy.
And I have to say, when I say that I'm posting a lot of what I'm posting is comments on other people's posts, because I hate people that go on and talk about themselves all the time and don't go and interact with everyone else in that community. So,
Jules, can I ask you a question? You said there post every day, and then you said, and PR once a month, and I probably could do more of it. What might that be? What, like when you say I do PR, this is a very naive question coming from me. So when you say I do PR once a month,
what it might look like is that I might write an article that a lot of other people would put up on social media, maybe on LinkedIn or in a newsletter, and I'll send it out to the media first. So I would send it out to some business media. I might send it out to a radio station and ask if they'd be interested in an interview. But that's what I mean about going out to mainstream media with something in around the thought leadership space. And, you know, I guess for you it might be Women's Health or Men's Health magazine or a sports magazine that you would write an article that you might think, oh, I'll put it up on my blog or put it up on my website or I'll put it up on LinkedIn. And I would say to everyone, think about sending it out to the media first, because they may say no and it makes no difference. Then you put it up on your blog anyway, but they may say yes. And if they do, you'll get that added layer of credibility that you can then share in your social media and on your blog anyway.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jules. Dave, if you're happy for me to jump in, I think
Please
you said three things. I was trying to think, what's the third thing? There's probably so many things. Okay, so the first thing, which is basically similar to what Jules was explaining, it's called targeted daily engagement. So every single day I spend 15 minutes in my Instagram community engaging, answering questions as the best I can from other people's posts, adding in additional questions to be thought-provoking of everyone in that audience. I'm usually the one going against the grain and saying, hey, but what if? What if we thought of this? What if we had this conversation? I always think they're asking the wrong bloody question. So I like to go in and just kind of let everyone stop just following the trends. Like that's what got us into this, you know, this space in the first place of women not being allowed to talk about their pelvic health because we're just going with it. So I often like to do that, just disrupt a little bit, but not too controversial, because I hate backlash. I think we all do. We're getting better at it. The second thing I like to do...
Educate, not infuriate.
Correct, right? And educate just from a perspective, and also let people know that they've got to come up with their own perspectives and their own thoughts. They've got to trust their own thoughts. The second thing would be I connect with my community. Every single day we have a private online Facebook group for women living with prolapse, and I'm there. Even if I'm not posting, I'm still talking, I'm still asking questions or just sharing things and asking someone from 3 months ago, how did that appointment go? Because they might share something from 3 months ago. I'm like, so what happened? We're still here. We're still here to support you. And like, oh, thanks. Thanks for, thanks for asking, that type of thing. In terms of PR, I don't actively always look because, as Jules can attest to, it takes a lot of time and effort to do that. However, if anything comes our way at Brave Mama, I always say yes, and then I figure out the details after. So if someone like SBS says, can you go and write an op-ed article? I say yes. And then I think 2 years ago, I Googled, what's an op-ed article? And then I Googled it and then I wrote one. So they're like, okay, I know what that is. So you always say yes and then you figure it out.
Nice. That's good. Just rather than leaping off the edge of the cliff, it's just taking that one step, 1 foot in front of the other and learning as you go as the landscape.
I think we're all figuring it out. Even the people ahead of us.
I guess we are.
They're all just figuring it out themselves. Yeah. They're just a little bit ahead of us. Let's cut through the noise and the BS. We're all just figuring it out.
Very true, yeah. If I can preempt something very briefly for Jo, and please forgive me if I put my foot in it again, Jo, but Jo, I hold Jo out as being one of the most sensational of my audiobook authors and authors in general who do the best at promoting their own books and making sure it's nice and easy for people to buy them, to come to read more about what Jo's about, to read about her passions for business, for sports psychology, and everything. She does this in an incredibly good way. So, Jo, if you need one of three things, then from my point of view, like that, you are not. That's the number one for you. I think you do that incredibly well, because so many authors will worry that their audiobooks will only be sold on Amazon or Audible, or they have to be at Apple Books. They have to be in these big, gigantic supermarkets that, God forbid we try and imagine these supermarkets as being like a physical thing. Like, can you imagine the size of like Coles Amazon? It's just, it's inconceivable that Anyway, Joe, can I? Is that perhaps a segue towards something you might like to say?
I'm thinking that this podcast is very good for my feelings of self-esteem and self-worth. So thank you for I'm going to stay on here all afternoon.
Good.
It's going to go till 5 o'clock. Thank you for that.
We've got plenty left.
I think one of the things that I've found with my audiobook particularly is, and this is just the honest of what it is, that I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about where it sits in relation to a lot of those big Uber stores of where they can be purchased. I'm very grateful that they're there, and they certainly sell through those modalities. But as you know, Dave, I also, it's available to purchase through myself. And so I've probably sold more myself than I have through anywhere else. But I use that as a tool, I guess, to share the messages. And it's just being creative about, you can go to an event, or, if I was chatting to Jules on a podcast, and the first thing you'd say is, well, can I gift you I don't know if it would be appropriate or not. So Jules, tell me if this is a bad idea, but if a podcast guest said to you, can I gift you 5 copies of the audiobook that you can give out to your audience and so forth? Like, what are ways that you can share your message, and try not to get too caught on what it costs you or where that, because it comes back tenfold, I know we're talking about audiobooks, but I had a copy of The Elite sitting. I gifted a copy to my dentist, and they left it on front reception. And I live in North Queensland, so I'm in a relatively small community, and someone who I've personally known for over 10 years asked me to do some work for them and for their organisation because they picked it up in the dentist. Now, they've known me forever. Never occurred to them that I could do any work for them. So stumbling over your book, and whether that be the audio book, which obviously goes alongside, probably for many of us, a print book as well, it just creates that opportunity for you. And it's about being creative about how can I share it, not getting too worried if you get the $29.95 for it when it happens, because, bigger things will come from it. And I think that's, for me, has worked really well. And that, to Jill's point about that, just that value of the media, of someone else saying, hey, here's an expert. The radio program I'm on a program once a week, where they don't even necessarily, most weeks when they describe me, I might as well say it's the ABC. So you've got to be careful what you say on the ABC in terms of what you can promote and what you can't. Mm-hmm. But I sometimes go into our local bookstore here in Townsville, and they'll say, what were you interviewed on last week? Because 6 people have come in to buy your book or to do this or to whatever, and they've never ever said what the book was. So what it does is it provides you with those opportunities. And Dave, you and I had this conversation, gosh, how many years ago now? I mean, the whole reason I did the audiobook, and dare I say it, I'm not an audiobook listener. It's not my preferred mode. I'm slapping myself on the hand for anyone that didn't see it, but it's not my preferred way to consume reading. I like to read a book. And it was a friend of mine who said, love you to pieces, Joe, but I'm not buying your book until you have an audio book. And I'm like, really? Is it really a thing? No, knowing full well that it's absolutely a thing, and it's a fabulous thing, and it's a great way. I've got a son who's more an auditory learner than a written learner, so he loves audio stuff. So it's that, and it was that conversation with my friend, and that's when I then contacted you and said, so apparently audiobooks are a thing, and you can help me get one. So that's where famous that all came about. So, famous words.
Isn't that fascinating, Joe? And I guess the general mark out of 10 for my open question to a lot of authors now when we first speak is, why do you want an audiobook? And the answer is, well, people are asking me for it. That's become the 90% answer now. It's so consistent. So and as you say, and I'm an auditory learner, so that kind of pushes on an open door for me. But I think the last book that I read was in 1976, and it was the screenplay for Star Wars or something ridiculous like that. So I'm hopeless at reading for pleasure. I don't take any pleasure in reading for pleasure.
You should give it a go again, Dave.
I probably should, maybe before I get too, curmudgeonly, 58, I'm probably approaching it. Look, I would love to hear from you all about your predictions for the future. So both in terms of your own engagement strategies for your own enterprises and interests, and where you think the trends might be headed. I mean, are we all going to have something on TikTok in the next week?
No.
I mean, is it? Okay,
No, I hope
let's
not.
hear it. Yeah, universal response.
Even
there.
if the universe tells us that we do, I'm still not. It's one platform I refuse to engage in personally, so therefore I won't be putting content there. However, having 2 small children and just watching how they interact with a whole range of things, yes, they still love the written book, but they love it better when mummy reads it to them, and they love it better when it's a movie. So my prediction is that our written word has moved into the spoken word of podcasts. But I just come back from the US in a major podcasting conference, and that next level is audio-visual. So now we're moving into vodcasts, video podcasts, whatever they're going to be labeled with, but it's the podcast on YouTube. YouTube have literally just launched their whole podcast channel on YouTube.
How exciting, Steph. That's big news.
Yeah. So we have our audio podcast on Podbean, but then now we've just launched season 3 on YouTube as well in the podcasting section. So they've got music, videos, podcasts, and, you know, the whole gamut of things.
Is this just, I mean, if I can interrupt, are we talking about the kind of, like thrilling, I don't know if any of you have watched a Joe Rogan podcast episode. Some of them go for like 7 hours.
They do.
And they are set in his studio, which is always the same, with the same curtains. Everybody's completely covered in microphones and tech and headphones and everything. And there's like probably maybe 3 camera angles. I mean, occasionally if he's doing a documentary, he'll have some external footage. But I mean, I'm trying to think of myself sitting in front of YouTube for 7 hours, just watching 3 people in a studio going 1 point of view, 2 point of view, 3 point of view, and I'm thinking I'd be asleep after an hour. But maybe this is a new kind of entertainment. It's me who's hasn't caught up with it.
Well, their listenership will say yes to that.
And it's like tens of billions.
And I've got teenage boys, and
Yeah.
they all tell me they would be very happy. I mean, the one that I wanted to listen to was Joe Rogan and Miley Cyrus, which is 5 hours, I think. And my son Jake said to me, "You've got to listen to it, Mum. It's amazing." So, and he keeps telling me how old-fashioned I am when I talk about doing video and setting it up properly and lighting and all the rest of it. He's like, no one cares about that. They just want to see you talk to people. So, yeah, I'm 100% with Steph. I think that's where it's heading.
Yeah. And sorry, Steph, I didn't mean to sound like I was pushing back on
No, not at all.
on your prediction. I think it's absolutely true. I'm just wondering what would your vision, what would your studio, what would your kind of video frame look like for a vodcast, for a Brave Mama interview, for example?
I think I would like to see it done. I mean, I'm always striving for doing things better. This is why I need to speak to Dr. Joe after this for performance. I would, but I see little steps at a time. So yes, a second camera angle might be lovely. I'm sitting in my studio now, which we didn't have, when we first met 2 or 3 years ago. Didn't exist. So I think with every little level up that we do, we can always be getting better. Of course you can. The new iPhone, if I was using this camera instead of that camera, would look so much better than what it does right now.
True.
It's doesn't have to be too many barriers to entry to keep leveling up. And if you can and you enjoy it, do it.
And Joe, I mean, to flip to Joe as well. I mean, some of the incredible interviews that I'm sure Dr. Joe Lukens could get for us. Some really famous. The Melbourne Boomers come to example. All women's basketball team, things like that. I mean, Joe's got more of that slightly easier kind of Australian culture, sports person. It's almost a guarantee of getting some interest from people. Joe, do you see some vision in your future in that sort of regard?
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I don't know what that will look like. It's funny because I reacted just like Steph and Jules did about, no, I'm not doing TikTok. And then I thought, well, hang on a sec, I actually am. No, I'm not actually doing it, but I'm doing a course in BookTok. Because, of course, BookTok is such a big field, and I've got that sitting there as... Yeah, I've got that course sitting there that it's part of another suite of things that I'm doing. Like, I often am an early adopter of things, although I've left TikTok, just let it run off into the wind because I've got some other things happening at the moment. So I'm always curious about what that next thing might be and how to have those conversations and to talk with people and connect it.
Well, I was
Jules,
just
you were
going to
about ask
say
something, I
that
think.
to your
Say
point
something.
of TikTok, I think you kind of have to choose your platforms, and I just feel like you can't be an expert at all of them. So in the end, if you want to promote yourself, you need to work out where your audience is and then go hard in that platform. For me, it's Facebook because that's where women talk, and it's LinkedIn because that's where all the business women are. I don't even know how I have got a presence on Instagram, but I actually don't even know how to go and find when people tag me where they are or how to answer them. And nothing's ever there when I go looking. TikTok, though, I am very conscious that if I had a very young audience, I would be all over it. Because my boys are on TikTok and YouTube. They're not on Audible.
TikTok.
I think Audible is another
Yeah.
market again, which is probably at that sort of 20 to 35 maybe. And I don't think, and then I think when you get to over 40, we're all still readers, a lot of us, Dave aside. But I do think that, reading, I mean, I would read over anything else because my frustration is I'm very fast thinking and I find people speak too slowly and I can't speed it up. So I'd rather read it at the pace that I like to read at than have to listen to something. And that's why Clubhouse, which is another audio option, which I dabbled in for a while and really loved it. But I got so frustrated because you've got to listen to 3 hours of people talking rather than being able to speed things up.
Do you know,
I must
Jules?
confess.
Oh, sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
I think Steph maybe we're about to say the same thing. One of the things I love about the online training is then putting it up to 1.5
Or 2.
depending on who's talking.
Double
You
speed.
can go to 3,
Yeah.
or 2.7. I think you can go
love
to,
it.
and it's
Wow.
mind-blowingly hard. Yeah,
Especially if they're an American host, I feel like they speak faster anyway, especially if they're really the energized type person. And then you put it on double speed, and I love that. That stimulation is
Wow.
my jam. And everyone else is looking like, what? How are you even listening to what they're saying? It's going
Don't
too
they sound like
fast.
chipmunks?
No,
it's a mood as
this
well.
is my mind. This is how I work.
Wow, Steph. Oh, that's extraordinary, folks. Look, it's been so wonderful to speak to all three of you. It's just tremendous, really. I mean, I don't know where to stop, and I don't think I really would like to stop. I'd love to talk on for so much longer, and it's just been such a rare pleasure to chat to you all, to Stephanie Thompson, to Jules Brooke, and to Joe Lukens. And look, if you could please stick around for the show outro, then we'll have some information on how to make contact with all our fabulous guests. And so until next time, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
It was great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. All right. Now, I might just stop the recording now, if I may.
You may.
So press the stop button.